30 seconds.
It's good to see all of you anyway, and then I'll shut up and let myself be muted.
Well, good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to our Rotary Foundation Virtual Happy Hour here in District 5960. If you don't know me, my name is Kyle Haugen. I'm the District Rotary Foundation team leader, and I'm going to serve as our MC today. A couple ground rules before we get going, just so everybody's on the same page. Please stay muted as you go, just because we don't want any distractions as we go from point to point and everything like that. If you do have any questions along the way, feel free to ask them directly to me in the chat, and we'll try to answer them either along the way, or we do have some time set aside at the end for questions and answered. Otherwise, this is a happy hour, and it was BYOB, so bring your own beverage. So really sit back, relax, and enjoy. You know, one of the things that the questions that I'm sure all of you hear a lot in Rotary, and you may have asked it too, and you've heard me talk about this, is what do we do as Rotarians? And certainly there are a lot of different answers, and it's a very complex question because we do so many different things. But I think one of the best answers is that we create peace, not just the absence of war and violence, but the fulfillment of all needs to create a fair and just society. And really, when you think about it, that's what we do. Everything we do as Rotarians leads towards creating positive peace. When we think about the fact that more than 4,000 people die daily due to contaminated water, with more than 2,000 of those being under 5 or over 70. When we provide clean water, we're helping people, especially kids, be healthier and live a better life. That's positive peace. Girls in the developing world often stop going to school when they start menstruating because there aren't clean and safe facilities. When we provide latrines and toilet facilities, we allow girls to keep going to school, bettering themselves and their families in the long run. That's positive peace. And certainly there's many things we do in our communities as well on a daily basis that are creating positive peace in our neighborhoods too. So there are many ways that we create positive peace, and our giving to the Rotary Foundation helps us maximize the impact we have. So hopefully you're energized coming out of this happy hour and are excited to do more to support the Rotary Foundation. We have 3 goals for today. Number 1 is to recognize clubs in our district for their giving in the 2019-2020 Rotary year. Along the way, as we do that, we're going to hear from several successful clubs how they did it in brief Q&A segments. And we're going to kick off our Share the Love campaign, promoting annual fund giving this February. We'll be introducing several people along the way as presenters, so I'm not going to do that right now, although I do need to introduce one person and that's Kathy Hewitt, who all of us know as our district administrator, and she's running things behind the scenes today. So don't bother her, because she's got a lot to do. Other than that, I'd like to introduce our immediate past district governor, Paul Perez, for some comments and our first part of recognition. Paul.
Thanks, Kyle. It's great to be here with over 100 people I see already joining us, so that's excellent. So I want to talk about the Rotary Foundation. When I give to the Rotary Foundation, I'm really investing in the future. I'm investing in improving people's lives, in making their situation and their future better, and even saving lives. I find that's very powerful. And so I continue to give as I'm able to invest in humanity's future. And we have so many Rotarians making that same investment in the future. So talking about the future, we're going to look at the past here and talk about the giving for District 5960 for the 2019-2020 Rotary year. So for Polio Plus, Rotarians and clubs gave $135,392. The district also donated $30,000 through our district designated funds for a total of $165,352. That was the highest amount donated to Polio Plus ever, with the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation 2-to-1 match, and the match from the World Fund. The total was $586,176 going towards eradicating polio forever. So great job, District 5960. Let's move over to the Rotary Foundation, giving to the annual fund share program. These are the funds that come back to us in 3 years as district designated funds, and we use them to do all the good in the form of project grants, Peace Scholars, and donations to Polio Plus. So at the end of last year, we had our push for 400,000. And how did we do? 464,602 is what we ended up. That was the highest ever for our district. And for per capita, it was $171.57 per member. Again, this was tops ever, our top amount ever. So it was a great end to the year. And when we get those funds back in 3 years, everything we do, every club in the district can take credit for it, because in 2023, 2024, those funds that come back, every club gave last year. So everyone is part of all the good we do. So thank you. It's a real team effort. So amidst this, we were in a pandemic, and so we had a COVID response. The first thing, the district participated in a Rotary Foundation disaster response fund grant that brought us $25,000 to address COVID-related needs. We asked clubs to submit requests between $500 and $2,500 as to how they would use these funds in their communities. In just 12 days, 33 of the clubs requested funds totaling nearly $67,000, while contributing over $20,000 of their own money in these proposals. We weren't able to address all the requests, but every club was able to get a portion of their request. In addition to that, we created a district-sponsored grant in order to make a significant contribution to 3 organizations that operate throughout all communities in our district. And these were to address COVID-related needs that they were working on. This grant of $27,000, which was made up of club donations and district designated funds that were not earmarked for any projects, was distributed equally to these 3 partners. You see them on the screen: Second Harvest Heartland, Channel One Regional Food Bank, and YMCA of the North. These efforts, along with the club contributions to the disaster response grant, totaled over $77,000, and we can all be proud of that. I know I was. So let's move to the awards portion of the evening. The Rotary Citation is an annual Rotary International award that can be earned by Rotary clubs for achieving goals that strengthen Rotary and your club. Goals include increasing club membership, developing sustainable service projects, giving to the Rotary Foundation, and building awareness of Rotary in your communities. During a year that was challenging for many Rotarians around the world, these clubs demonstrated a commitment to achieve their goals, which ultimately helped strengthen Rotary and shape our future. We had 3 clubs that achieved this in 2019-2020 year, and we want to recognize them. So Arden Hills Shoreview Rotary, St. Paul Rotary number 10, and White Bear Lake Rotary. So give them a hand. And I want to recognize the immediate past presidents, Bill Klump, Michael John Peace, and John Shannon for their leadership, and thank them for the efforts of their club members to achieve these great awards. So let's give them one more big hand, everyone. Thank you, and I'll turn it back over to MC Kyle.
Thanks, Paul, and congratulations to everybody on a job well done this year, or last year, in terms of foundation giving in the midst of a pandemic. To come through with that level of support shows the true heart of Rotarians. Mentioned here about the background. I have all the names in the list. Be patient with me, because all of a sudden I said, let me know, and I'll email it, and I have about 20 people that messaged me. So you'll get yours in a minute. Just be patient. I had to talk first. We'll keep moving on with the foundation awards here. You know, obviously, I think all of us know that Rotary's top priority for over nearly 40 years now has been eradication of polio. And here are our Polio Plus team leaders, Charlie Kogan and Joe Stallman, to talk a little bit more about how we did polio-wise last year. Hi, Joe.
Hi, how are you?
Hi, Charlie. There's Charlie too.
Hey,
Take it
how are
away,
you?
guys.
Hey, Charlie, you're going to do the history and some recognition, and then I'll jump back in for the Q&A. How's that?
That sounds perfect.
All right.
All right. So in a way, we're kind of preaching to the choir here, because the people on this call are all champions for Polio Plus. But Rotary got into polio eradication in 1979. By 1985, we were really committed to eradicating polio. But the whole team, the Global Polio Eradication Initiative, only came together in 1988. So that's 32 years ago. And it's Rotary, the World Health Organization, UNICEF, US Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, at the time. And at the time, there were 350,000 cases of polio in the world in 125 countries. So I know that if we were to try to look at that as a visual, it would give us a sense of what we were facing. Basically, the world was all red. Every country, 125 countries were colored red because they were still polio endemic. So there you go. It's kind of scary when you think about that kind of a world. It looks a little bit like the world today with COVID, doesn't it? Except that then you'd have the United States and Canada bright red as well, and all of Europe bright red. So, this isn't quite as distant a thing as it was about a year ago. Over the last 32 years, we've been around the world. We've had a lot of members of our own district who've actually gone and done polio eradication work in the field. And now there are only 2 countries in the world left with polio. This year, Nigeria was certified polio-free, wild poliovirus free. And that's an amazing thing. All of Africa now is polio-free. So when people ask, has there been progress? There has, and it's been hard fought, but there's been progress. 2 countries, Pakistan and Afghanistan, are both countries with a lot of instability. But the Rotarians there, and I know Dick Houston's on this call, the Rotarians in Pakistan are working day and night to get Pakistan polio-free as well. So there's good stuff being done as we speak. In 1988, there were 3 different strains of polio. There were 1, 2, and 3. 2 and 3 are gone. They've been certified eradicated. So we're really working on polio type 1. And there's just a lot to be excited about right now. And so that's that's all really good stuff. The just check my notes here. The last few years, 2 new partners have joined us. There is the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, who started in 2008 a big match with Rotary, where for every dollar raised by Rotarians, they would put in $2. And that began in 2008. In the last 12 years, our district, which is individuals, clubs, and district designated funds, is responsible for generating almost $2 million. And if you take those $2 million and you multiply by 3, you've got then $6 million of impact from our district alone. And don't forget that there are 532 Rotary districts in the world. So we're part of something big, and we're doing a lot of good work. The Gavi, the Vaccine Alliance, has also joined us for this final stretch, and they're responsible for global vaccinations around the world to coordinate polio work with other vaccination campaigns, to really do a good job of making sure that all of us work together to get this done. So we've gone from 4 original partners to 6, and there are a lot of people in this district who've stepped up. We had Strikeout Polio in October, and during that Strikeout Polio push, you know, it was just amazing. We had, I mean, the exact numbers are out there. I think it's over $60,000 raised, and this is by individuals who stepped up. And anything given by an individual counts for the district giving, and also for the club that person comes from. So that means that a lot of clubs are already on the books for this year in a big way, and it's amazing. We would like to look at last year's giving and recognize clubs that did, you know, a lot of work for polio eradication last year. And there's certificates of appreciation for every club that has given at least $1,500. And that sounds like a lot of money. I mean, here I'm wearing my End Polio Now jacket. It can be individual giving and it can be club giving. So the combination is something very achievable. So for 2019, 2020, we had those. And you know, that's a lot of hard work from a lot of different clubs to get us to that point, so that we'd have all of those clubs meeting the goal. And that's amazing. And I'm proud of the Northfield Club for being on it, and just looking at the list of clubs is something that makes Joe and I excited about what's coming up. We also have some clubs that really led the way. So we've got a list of the clubs who actually were first, second, and third for different categories. You can't take a club, you know, with 20 members and compare it with a club with 150, but we all do what we can within our context. So for last year, for small clubs, here are the leading clubs. Janesville, Barron County, Cultural Exchange Enthusiasts, a pretty new club too. So this is amazing. For medium clubs, Arden Hills, Shoreview, Le Sueur Rotary. I remember driving on an icy road to get out there a couple of years ago. New Brighton Mounds View has always been a big leader in this. Stillwater, one of our champions. A lot of action in Stillwater, a busy town. And Faribault, I think Dick Houston has really inspired some people to push hard on this. This is wonderful. Northfield, Land of Jesse James. Rice Lake. It's a great club. Prior Lake, of course, the Titan, and still going strong. This is wonderful. I think that Lake Fest is helping to eradicate polio every year.
Perfect. Thank you, Charles. Next up, we're going to do a little bit of a Q&A, and we have two special people here with us, hopefully. From the Cultural Exchange Enthusiasts, President John Hobday is here, and from Faribault, the foundation team leader, Brent Perautka. So let's see here. I'm going to start with John, and I hope that the technology can keep up here. John, are you there?
I'm here.
Hi, John. How are you?
I'm doing great.
I got a question for you. So you have a small club with a large percentage of your members making personal contributions to Polio Plus, especially during our Strikeout Polio campaign. So thank you. How did you make that happen?
Yeah, we were lucky to have Paul Perez come and speak to our club. We're an e-club, so we meet, exclusively on Zoom, which I think is difficult for a lot of clubs, or it seems odd. For us, it's just the way that we meet. So Paul joined us, gave a presentation longer than what he did today, but many of our members are new to Rotary. He spoke about polio. He spoke about the progress we've made over 30 years. And in the end, we put a link to, and then about the promotion that was going on to become a Paul Harris Fellow, which many of us were not, but two of our members were previous Paul Harris Fellows. And we put the link in the chat box. And by the end of the meeting, we had, I think, 7 people that had signed up with the promotion. So for a small club of 12 members, we had a lovely response.
That's great. Brent, I see you here. Faribault has been very generous over the years for polio giving. So how have you kept up? How have you kept that up with all the change in leadership?
Yeah, good. Can everyone hear me all right?
Yes.
Okay, good to go. Well, it takes a lot of effort. As all of you know, any successful effort is a proponent of a great team. So we've got a great team in Faribault, which is first and foremost. One thing we did a couple of years ago is tried to keep a consistent foundation chair and then have the incoming president be a part of that. So they're in essence on it for 2 years, but having a consistent foundation chair helps with all the back end and all the technology and all the reports that are going out. So that's one thing. And then I've got a couple key points. I know we're down to 2 minutes here that I wanted to go over. We've got several key donors. Obviously, Dr. Houston's been mentioned a couple of times, and actually going on a trip and bringing that back to our club and clubs in our area is very important. We do a lot of education on it, I think via the clips and in person. Let's see here. We've done a good recurring giving effort where we've actually brought laptops to club meetings when we were meeting in person and signing people up right there online and having them commit to going on to Rotary.org and getting them going. So I think having that there versus the excuse of, I'll do it when I get back to my office, we can do it all right there. We have several foundation teams where we get 4 people and they're each committed to giving $250 every year. And we've got 5 people times 200. So we've got a number of teams going and it creates a little competition or that thing. Hey, I want to be on a team. How do I get that going? So those have all been big things for what we're doing here in Faribault.
That's great. Yeah, the pandemic has lent itself for us to kind of become more familiar with Rotary.org and My Rotary and all of that. So that's great. Do either one of you have one more tip that you could give clubs that don't make Polio Plus a priority?
Well, I mean, whether or not you make Polio Plus a priority, I think Zoom is kind of a way to go to have someone speak to your club.
Yeah.
And I'm telling you that putting the link right in the chat really did it for us. And, we had this promotion and this Paul Harris sort of incentive, but we also had someone from our club, Chris Ann Manolis, who many of you know, who is a former Paul Harris Fellow, I think 3-time, now 4-time. And was able to speak about, being a Paul Harris Fellow. But the other thing I think is just, we are so close worldwide to eradicating polio. We're down to 2 countries, but, COVID has sort of impacted that. So, I think it's a time to kind of step up. That spoke to our members as well. So, but I think kind of, a brief Zoom focus for members where they could join might be a suggestion.
Great. Well, thank you both, John and Brent. Thanks for being here. Congratulations to all the clubs that were recognized right now, and keep up the good work. We're going to kick it back to Kyle.
Thanks, Joe and Charlie, and thanks, John and Brent, for sharing as well. And congratulations and thank you to all the clubs that were recognized there. When John mentioned Paul going and speaking to the club, all clubs in our district have the opportunity to do that. We've created a new role called the Foundation Coach, which is kind of like an assistant governor, but just for the Rotary Foundation, as a way to really help work with clubs to educate, motivate, encourage, recognize, create that culture of giving within a club. So certainly if you don't know who your foundation coach is, ask your club president or president-elect or foundation chair, because they should know who that coach is, and they've started working with them. Now we've talked about Polio Plus, and now let's move on to the Rotary Foundation's annual fund, which is, as she will tell us, is the money that comes back to us in grants. So here to tell us more and to recognize those clubs is our illustrious grants team leader, Margie Horning. Margie?
Thanks, Kyle. I've been posed with that why is giving to the annual fund so doggone important? Well, your gift to the annual fund helps Rotary clubs, our very own district Rotary clubs, take action today to create positive change in communities at home and around the world. Your contributions help us strengthen peace efforts, provide clean water and sanitation, support education, grow local economies, save mothers and children, and fight disease. Well, how does this happen? 3 years after our donations are given, 50%, and yes, that's 50% of those gifts come back to the district and can be transformed by you and your clubs into grants that fund local and international humanitarian projects, scholarships, and activities such as vocational training teams. The exciting thing here is that each and every one of the District 5960 Rotarians can come forward with their very own idea for a global or a district grant and share in that funding. And lastly, but more importantly, the more dollars we give to the annual fund, the more funds that we'll have available to do good in the world and our communities. So now we're going to recognize some clubs that have given to the annual fund, and we'll start with the small clubs. And Lake Elmo is the third place winner. And you can see the $132. Second place is Barron County Sunrise, and they've really stepped up. And third place, new kid on the block, or third place, I guess first in place, is the Cultural Exchange Enthusiasts. So wow, thank you. And now for the medium-sized clubs. Third place is LeSueur Rotary. Second place is Anoka. First place is Arden Hills Shoreview, and they are also good in standing for overall in our district, so that's really important. And now we've got the medium plus clubs. Those are the ones that are a little bit bigger than medium, but not quite large. The third place winner is the Rochester Risers down in our southern part of the district. And my very own club is second place, Stillwater Sunrise Rotary. And first place is Roseville Rotary, and they are third overall in the district. So that's pretty significant for Roseville. And then we go on to the large clubs. The third place winner is White Bear Lake Rotary. The second place winner is Lakeville Rotary. And the top dog is Prior Lake Rotary, and they are also first overall in the district. But remember, it's a team and every little bit helps. So, you know, whatever you give or your club gives certainly does help to change the world. So now we've got a couple of questions to ask. And are you going to bring up Peggy Strom from the Arden Hills Shoreview? Is she with us? Hi, Peggy.
Yeah.
And Lakeville, their last year's foundation team leader, Dan Rinkstead. Dan, you'll pop up, I'm assuming. and Roseville, the foundation team leader, Jan Vanderwall. So welcome, and I've got a question for each of you, and if you can, in a few short sentences or whatever, say, how do you consistently engage your members so that they don't simply give, but they give at more significant amounts? And Peggy, why don't we start with you?
Okay, thanks, Margie. I would say that our giving profile has really changed a lot in the last 5 years. I've been a member of the Arden Hills Shoreview Rotary Club for 24 years. Our club size during that time has almost always been in the range of probably 28 to 33 members, sometimes more, sometimes less. And I don't think we were winning any awards until maybe about 5 years ago, and maybe even more recent than that. We have long had one member, long-term member, who for many years was in kind of a category by himself as a multiple Paul Harris Fellow, a very modest and unassuming guy who never wanted us to make a big deal about it, but we did. And slowly over the past 5 years, I'd say we've had more people follow in his footsteps, including some of our newest members. We do publicly recognize all Paul Harris Awards at our meetings. We try to, make a big deal about that. And so I think my kind of overriding thing that I would say about it is I think it takes a spark within a club to get it going. And we had that spark. It just took a while for the fire to start burning. But having, and good things I think are going to follow once you get that spark going. Having people who lead by example and speak about why they give, why it's important to them, I think has been key to that. We've also, as you've talked about district grants, we've also gotten more active recently with both district and global grants. And I do think that helps because suddenly, people get excited about the work we're doing with these grants and they start realizing that, wow, where does that money come from? Well, it comes from the foundation, and there's that direct link through the grants process. So I think that has helped also. And the recent strategy to use district Paul Harris points that was started in June last year when we were trying to hit the 400,000. That was particularly effective, I would have to say, in our club. We had a third of our members take up that challenge and give $365 or more to get that. So I think that's a good strategy, and I think we should keep it up.
Sounds very good, Peggy. And Dan, do you want to tell us a little bit about what's going on with your club and how you sustain that? You're muted. Dan, you're muted. We all want to hear you.
Better?
Better.
Okay, great. What we do in Lakeville is we start at the very beginning with a new member orientation process. We stress the importance of every member contributing right from somebody beginning with Lakeville Rotary, and it's well received right from the beginning by all. Beyond that, we use you saw who the kingpin in the district was, Prior Lake. We used Paul Hofsling and Kyle's dad, Jack Haugen, to come in and give a wonderful program on the foundation. And that was very well received. We did that maybe 2 months, 3 months before the actual drive itself. But the timing was good, and they did an outstanding job. And finally, what we've done this forever, ever since I've been a member, nearly 30 years. We set a dollar amount that we would like a minimum for every member to contribute. And that number then is matched by the club with the Master at Arms money that's collected over the year. And I don't believe there ever has been not a match. We have very good collections on a weekly basis. And I think members really do like and appreciate it. And it almost becomes a little bit of not so much game, but a target. And the number that we throw out then is matched. And those are the things that we've done that have found out to be just a real success with our annual Rotary Drive.
Good. And Jan, last but not least, from the Roseville Club, do you want to give us a little spiel on what's happening there?
Well, we're all meeting remotely, so it's not happening quite as much together. But what has happened, or what I believe has helped us and our members' generosity, is that we have many believers who will stand up. And usually, in the last several years, our presidents have been big supporters and talking about this is my charity of choice. But I do think that one of the things there's a lot of ways that you could ask for money in a Rotary Club, and we try to limit the so that we're not competing with the other various wonderful projects and funds that need to be going. It's like right now we're not asking in this month because we're working on the Coalition for Emergency Response things, but we ask at righteous times, if you want to call it that way. And in doing that, we bring that emphasis to our members as well. We also, I have to say, know that everybody comes with different gifts to Rotary. Some come with time, some come with money, some come with other things. And we respect all of those things, and we ask those that are able and can do it to step up. And I tell you, the last and most effective thing we have some very generous members. And we've had them for years and years, and we appreciate all of them. And they don't need to be asked. They do it on their own, and sometimes they even step up and do such things as anonymous matching grants, which has helped our bottom line in so many ways.
Okay, well, thank you very much, all three of you, and your clubs have certainly had great success. And now I'm going to turn it back to Kyle so we can keep on track. Thanks, everybody.
Thanks, Margie, and congratulations and thank you to all the clubs that were recognized there. Obviously, the more money that we give to the annual fund, the more good we can do through grants in the world and everything like that. So the more we give, the more impact there is. I do want to point out one thing as we go through the 4 club sizes. We have the small clubs. Those are clubs that are under 25 members. The medium clubs are from 25 to 33 members. The medium plus are from 34 to 60. And really, the medium category is from that 25 to 60. And then we just take it, cut it in half, and that creates a little bit more space there just because there are so many clubs in that category. And then large clubs are over 60. So just wanted to clarify that point. You know, it's not only about the size of the gift, but it's the amount of people that are giving in a club too. So here is our district governor nominee and a member of our grants team, Dale Quigley, to talk about every Rotarian every year and 100% giving. Dale. Oops. Dale, I think you are still muted.
Sorry about that. Thanks, Kyle.
Right.
So when I win the Mega Millions, I'm giving it all, and then St. Paul number 10 will blow away Prior Lake. That's my goal right there. But since I haven't won yet, and in all honesty, as impressive as how much people give, what amazes me is the clubs that have been able to inspire every single one of their members to give. And that is huge. So it's not one person who's carrying the club, but every member contributing. And that's what this set of awards is about. It's about every Rotarian every year. And so to achieve this, there are 2 different ways you can do this. There's the 100% to the Rotary Foundation Giving Club. That is where 100% of all members give at least $25 with an overall for the club of $100 per capita to the Rotary Foundation. Or there's Every Rotarian Every Year, which is the exact same thing, but instead of it going perhaps to Polio Plus, all of the money is going to the annual fund. And so, as I said, these next 6 clubs have every single member giving. And for that, they deserve a huge round of applause. So our 6 clubs this year are Arden Hills, Shoreview, Lakeville, LeSueur, New Brighton, Mounds View, Prior Lake, and Waseca. So the 6 of you clubs, thank you all so very much. That is a fabulous accomplishment. And we do have a panel here to help us figure out how the rest of the clubs can get there along with them, because we'd certainly like to grow 6 to 60. So from Le Sueur, we have past foundation chair and past president Cheryl Udmundson. From Waseca, we had the foundation chair, Peggy Hildebrandt. And from New Brighton, Mounds View, President Edith James. So hopefully we can get all of you up there. Welcome. And there's one more, hopefully they'll show up all of a sudden, but let's start with you, Cheryl. Several years ago, your club went from roughly 50% of members giving to 100% in 1 year. How'd you do it?
With a lot of participation of all of our members. 5 key points. First, we adopted a team approach for our foundation. So there wasn't one person responsible for raising funds for the club. There was a whole team of us. And as you know, together, everyone achieves more, or team. Then I went through the process of collecting some information. We had done, in 2016, had done a visioning exercise through the district. And one of the outcomes was a goal of 100% every Rotarian every year within 5 years. I did some statistical analysis, and over 10 years, we'd gone anywhere from 12% to about 50 to 55%. So my team met and we decided if we were going to make 100%, we had to grow by 10% every year. So one of our team members said, well, let's go for 66% in year 1. And that was the stretch. So we said, okay, we're going for 66%. We established how many members that included. We shared that goal with our club. And much to our surprise, we hit 66% in no time, in a matter of weeks. And the 66% grew to 75, grew to 80, and the team came back together and said, should we go for 100%? And our team decided, yes, we're going to go for it. We had the good fortune of having the district foundation team come out and give us a presentation. They did some education, which inspired even more involvement in our donations. And then, as many of you have probably experienced, there were a few that we just couldn't move and they weren't going to step forward. So we empowered our team members to go out and meet with them one-on-one, because not everyone responds to kind of a blanket all call for a donation. So we met one-to-one with our members, and we made it. In 1 year, we went from 50% to 100%. As part of that, it was important that we reported our progress routinely at our meetings. And then most importantly, we recognized our members for their dedication. That was year 1. And we have met 100% E-rate every year since. This will be year 5, and our 5-year plan was to achieve 100% in year 5. We've done it every year for 5 years.
Cheryl, that's great. And you know what I heard? I heard that what you used was a SMART goal.
Yes.
Which is the key, right? It's having a goal. It's having a goal and laying it out there with a time in there. Fabulous. Okay, Peggy, you're up next. Your club has been at 100% for many years. And sometimes getting there is easy, but keeping it there can be rough. How do you keep the momentum going?
Well, I double checked, because our system of keeping the momentum going is very simple. When every Rotarian every year was a new initiative, our club board voted to bring it to the total assembly and offer it as something that we could do as a group. And at that time, our club voted to add $25 a quarter to our regular billing, and that's just an automatic. So now when we bring in new members, we just let them know that that's one of the things that we do, and that's one of the things that will be on their bill. And it's been very simple. It's not really a discussion point. It's just a part of our culture.
Perfect. Well, that's it, right? Building it in as a habit or a culture is fabulous. And as long as everybody knows coming in, that's all good.
Yeah, it's been very simple.
Simple works. Nothing needs to be, you don't need to make it more difficult, right?
Right.
Bennett, here's on to you. So there's always going to be a few people, the ones that need the one-on-one or something else, who just aren't really sure that the money should be laid out there. How have you dealt with people like that?
To be honest with you, we don't have any member who is kind of dragging behind when it comes to every Rotarian every year donation. If you have anybody like that, let Kyle talk to them. He's very good. He can convince anybody to do this. So we've had him come over to talk to us. Even this year he did. And that has always been a very good thing for the club. But just like Peggy said, it is part of our billing. Everybody is billed every quarter for this donation. So if you want to add more, like most of our members did, you can add more to that. But the standard payment is built into your quarterly bill. So you pay it anyway. And we've been doing it for so many years now.
Fabulous. Thank you all for being on the panel, and thank you for all that you do in your clubs. I think it is now back to Kyle.
Got it. Thanks, Dale. And just so everybody's aware, while I did put together an outline for this whole thing, I did not tell Edith to say that about me. So that was on his own, but we'll send you $1 or $2 anyway, or something like that. Thanks. Thanks. And I think it goes to show it does take work, and it takes effort, and it takes creating that culture in order to get people giving, 100% of your members giving, and it takes asking them as well. The Rotary Foundation does a lot of different things, and there's a lot of different places to give, being it Polio Plus or disaster response or the annual fund or many other ways, which our next presenter will talk about, because she's going to talk about total foundation giving. And here to tell us more and to recognize some clubs is our annual giving officer at the Rotary Foundation, Edina Mehovic. Edina, how are you today?
I'm well. Thanks so much, Kyle. Thank you all for having me here, and congratulations on all of your accomplishments through the year. And thank you for everything that you do for the Rotary Foundation. So our foundation gives impact lives in both your local communities across Minnesota and Wisconsin, as well as communities around the world. As Rotarians, you are people of action, and the foundation opens opportunities to do good in the world. Back in March 2020, our lives were put on hold because of the COVID-19 pandemic. However, our Rotarians recognized that our foundation was there to help and took action. In Rotary year 2019-20, the foundation approved 339 disaster response grants, equaling $8.4 million. The majority of these grants were related to COVID relief. Disaster response grants are those grants that are $25,000 or less that are applied for by the district governors and district Rotary Foundation chairs to help aid in disaster relief in their community. As mentioned earlier, your district was among the recipients of one of these grants in 2020. Additionally, the foundation approved 1,359 global grants for a total of $95.6 million. And many existing grants were repurposed for COVID-19 specific activities. District grants approved were at 490 for a total of $33.6 million. So I just threw a lot of numbers your way, but through these grants, your district was able to do quite a lot in your community. For example, you purchased new equipment to screen student vision, installed new solar panels in a nature center, sponsored a North Korean refugee, equipped a fire department with ballistic vests, and provided self-defense classes to trafficked and exploited girls. And this is just to name a few of your local activities. These grants are made possible through your donations to the Annual Fund Share. Annual Fund Share is just one of the many funds our donors can support. Donors can also give to Polio Plus, disaster response, one of our 6 areas of focus, and soon to be 7th with the addition of environment. Donors can also choose to give to our endowment fund through an outright contribution or in their estate plans. Contributions to our endowment fund can be used in various ways, including share, specific areas of focus, or named funds. The Rotary Foundation offers various ways to give to these funds. Donations can be made through stocks, IRAs, a check, online through Rotary.org. Donors can also enroll in Rotary Direct, our recurring gift program, which offers a secure way to give via either a checking account or a credit card on a monthly, quarterly, or annual basis. And so now I'm going to go ahead and recognize top giving clubs by club size. I'd like to recognize the top 3 clubs in each club size for their overall giving to TRF. In small clubs, in 3rd place, we have Lake Elmo Rotary. In 2nd place, we have Culture Exchange Enthusiasts. And in 1st place, we have Barron County Sunrise Rotary. For medium-sized clubs, in 3rd place, we have Anoka Rotary. And in 2nd place, LeSueur Rotary. And rounding it off in 1st place, Arden Hills Shoreview Rotary. In medium plus clubs, we have Faribault Rotary in 3rd place. 2nd place goes to Stillwater Sunrise Rotary. And 1st place goes to Roseville Rotary. And in large clubs, we have Northfield Rotary in 3rd place. 2nd place goes to Lakeville Rotary. And 1st place goes to Prior Lake Rotary. Congratulations to all the clubs. And now we're going to hear a little bit from Barron County Sunrise Co-President Monica Audette and Prior Lake past President Dan Stanley. So Dan, let's start with you. Prior Lake has been a leader across the board for foundation giving for several years. How have you developed and maintained that culture of giving?
I think we do, our club does 4 things well. Starting off with number 1, we educate through programs and reminders throughout the year. For instance, even started with new member orientation. We talk about giving as part of our responsibility as a member. In October, we bring Polio Plus to the forefront and celebrate the month. And then during the November, we typically do a foundation banquet. 2020 is the exception, of course, but we celebrate and promote our foundation via our club's foundation banquet. Generally have some outstanding guests for that and really make it a big deal with our club. Third, we recognize those who give, noting special milestones such as Paul Harris Fellow and Society goals, as well as achieving major donor level during club meetings. And then lastly, the most important thing is asking members to give. Over time, this becomes a culture of giving, and because we talk about it every year, and I wouldn't say that we browbeat our members, not at all, but we talk about the good it does, and because of that, people step up and want to give, and I think that's the success of our club.
That's great. Thank you so much, Dan. And those are definitely great ideas on creating a culture of giving and engaging your donors. Now, Monica, your club increased their Polio Plus and annual fund giving this past year. What did you do to achieve this increase?
I think one of the things that is most interesting about our club is we're very playful, and we found out we're really competitive as well. We had a member who challenged everybody, said he would make a matching gift if other people would step up. And so our goal was to see how far we could stretch him in his matching gifts. So that was a fun activity. As far as Polio Plus, we painted our pinkies purple in recognition of polio, and just fun things like that, I think, really bring giving to the forefront to help us encourage everyone. We also had generous donors who gave up Paul Harris points to help others get a Paul Harris Award as well. And so those are some of our strategies this past year.
That's wonderful. Thank you so much for sharing. And I think, Kyle, I'm going to turn it back to you. We're running, looks like maybe a little bit behind.
Sounds good. Yeah. And thank you to Dan and to Monica for sharing. And one thing that Barron County did too, and this is a promotional piece, I guess, is last year we had our first Rotary District 5960 Shark Tank for clubs that hadn't sponsored grants in over 3 years. We asked them to bring projects ideas forward, and then from the clubs that had sponsored projects, asked them to be sharks that would provide funding from their clubs to those projects. And the Barron County Sunrise Club was one of the 3 clubs that brought a project forward. It was partnering on a grant to build a adaptive playground in Barron. And I think that from the outside, especially too, once they got that grant going, you could really see just the energy in the club really picked up too. So grants can do that, and we will be doing Shark Tank again this year. More information will be coming soon. But if your club hasn't sponsored a grant, has not sponsored a grant in 3 years, you're eligible to bring one forward. And if your club has sponsored a grant and you'd like to be one of the funding sharks, you're able to do that. So some details will be coming out probably mid-February on that, with the date of Shark Tank in early to mid-May. So want to transition here. Thank you, before I do that, to everybody, all of the clubs that were recognized. Congratulations, but more importantly, thank you, because that part of giving that's what it's all about. It's the impact. So thank you so much. And thank you for sharing all the ideas. If you're interested in getting a hold of any of the clubs to pick their brain a little bit more, reach out to Kathy or me. We can connect you appropriately there. Remember, we got one more section here, and then we'll have some Q&A. So if anybody has any questions you'd like us to answer about the Rotary Foundation, or share the love, which we'll be talking about in a minute, we will have some time after that. So go ahead and message me in the chat. But what I would like to do right now is bring forward the guy who we haven't mentioned yet. We've heard from him in the chat, making jokes a little bit, but it's our district governor and incoming District Rotary Foundation team leader, Ed Merrick. Ed, how are you?
I'm doing fine, Kyle. This is just tremendous. This is just great. Everyone's support of the foundation is just doing great stuff. And we've heard about the different areas of the focus areas that we can give to. Heard tips on how to engage your members, and some really good ones I'm going to take back to my club. But the why is important too. And as you mentioned earlier, Kyle, we create peace. The now 7 focus areas all support that concept of positive peace. And I would invite everyone to come into the Friday feature on the 26th of February, where you can learn more about that concept. We'll have a special edition on that. The Rotary Foundation helps maximize that peace by supporting and providing support for economic community development, disease prevention and treatment, child and maternal health, education and literacy, clean water, sanitation and hygiene, and brand new, coming to a district near you in July, the environment. And all of these work to support the last one, namely peace and conflict resolution prevention. Very simply, as you said earlier, when people's needs are being met, we eliminate the need for conflict.
Yes, indeed. And we want to really, we hope that you're all a little bit more motivated to give today, because it is about the impact we're giving, but it never hurts to give a little incentive and encouragement along the way. So that's why we are pleased to announce our Share the Love campaign for this February, which will be a time that we encourage members to give to the Rotary Foundation's annual fund, Share. Ed, I think you and Paul Perez came up with the name. So why don't you explain why it's Share the Love?
Well, February has a couple of important dates. February 14th, of course, is Valentine's Day. And that's all about celebrating people we love that are in our lives. The other important date is February 23rd, when way back in 1905 at an office building on Dearborn Street in my hometown, Chicago, 4 business people met and decided to form a club. And that's why we're gathered here today. And because of that meeting, we thought it would make sense to celebrate love and Rotary by asking our district members to share their resources and create peace and love across our communities and the world by giving to the Rotary Foundation in February? Kyle?
We'll provide a lot of information along the way to members and from videos, and we'll send stuff to club leadership with some announcements to engage their members, to really encourage people to give. But we know incentives never hurt as well, and that's why we have special recognition opportunities if you give to the annual fund share in February, and they come at 3 levels. Now, if a member gives $100 or more, there's a 2-for-1 recognition point match. And recognition points are those that when we give to the Rotary Foundation, not only is our dollars going there and we're getting credit towards Paul Harris fellowships, but we get recognition points that we can utilize to either reward or encourage others to give as well. We have a generation of foundation champions in our district that have accrued recognition points over time. And we've gone to them and asked, can we use some of your points to help make the next generation of foundation champions? So that's where that 2-to-1 match comes from. They want to motivate others in our district to give. So if you give $100 or $200, multiply it by 3, you're that much closer to a Paul Harris Fellowship. Another level that we're really trying to promote in our district is $365, which is the concept of $1 a day to the Rotary Foundation. Obviously, we all spend way more frivolously than $1 a day on helping change the world. So if you give $365 or more to the Rotary Foundation, like Strike Out Polio in October and the push for 400,000 before that, we'll make you a Paul Harris Fellow. So it's the easiest way you'll have to be your next level of Paul Harris. And remember, once you're a Paul Harris, you can get 8 more before major donor status. So it's the next one in line. And, you know, we wanted to make sure we were really encouraging people to share their love this year. So Ed, why don't you tell them about the fun new level?
We have an even bigger opportunity for you this month only. If you donate $1,000, you'll get recognition on the district website. Not only that, but by acting this month, you'll receive your choice of Share the Love apparel. But that's not all. You'll be honored, you'll be an honored guest at a significant donor event later this year. And by donating this month, we will also give you the opportunity to share a Paul Harris Fellow. Name someone of your choice to receive this prestigious recognition. Don't delay, give big in February. Kyle?
Absolutely. And in a couple of the small print details, if you're already a Paul Harris Society member that's giving $1,000 a year, this level is only going to cost you an extra $500 this month. And those Share the Love clothing items, which are the website for that should be live in the next few days. It's all right, because, you know, there's time for processing to make sure anyway. But they will all have that Share the Love logo that you see on the screen on them, and choices of sweatshirts or polo shirts and whatnot. But anyone that gives, if you give $1,000, you get one for free. Anyone that gives this month is eligible to purchase those things as well, with some of the proceeds going to the Rotary Foundation as well. So that's what to give. We've talked about the why, we've talked about the what, how. There are 3 levels. I'm just trying to match Ed's enthusiasm here. I don't think I can do it. Easiest way to give is obviously going online to rotary.org. Make sure you sign into your My Rotary account so you get proper credit for that. Otherwise, you can mail it directly to the Rotary Foundation by filling out a foundation donor form, or you can give a check to your club leadership. On any of those, make sure you select the annual fund share campaign, because that way the money will go to the annual fund share campaign, and that money comes back in 3 years for those grants. That's what I was going for, as I'm getting bombarded with sock availability and stuff. I don't know, Paul. Paul's asking, will we have socks available? That's up to you, because you were the one in charge of creating all the clothing items. So back to you, Paul. Anyway, we hope you're excited about our Share the Love campaign. The foundation development team and the foundation coaches have had a lot of fun putting this together. We're all excited to work with your clubs to really roll this out and encourage all your members. So this isn't something you have to do alone. You know, but while the funds and recognition are great, remember, it's really about the impact. Ed, you got one more line here.
I do?
Well, I'll do it. Fine. So what can you do in your club? He's so tired from what he just did that he doesn't even remember.
I'm
What
worn
can
out.
you
I'm
do in
taking a
your
nap.
club? Obviously, please give to the Rotary Foundation this February. But as importantly, you're all on here because you're passionate about Rotary and care deeply about the organization. Ask people in your clubs to give. Be a foundation champion in your club and promote the annual fund share and or share the love to others within the club. So stay tuned for more information and promotion throughout the month as we share the love. I would like to now open it up to see if anybody has any questions for a few minutes. The first question that I did have is, Ed, somebody asked, will you have socks available? And let's defer to Paul Perez to answer that question. Paul.
I believe there's a issue with the vendor, so I'm not sure if that's going to be available.
Sounds good. Well, thanks for asking a question that even you couldn't answer. Way to go. Let's see.
It was a factual answer.
Yeah, it was a factual answer.
I don't think Houston has a question.
Go ahead.
Kyle?
Dave. Yes.
So if I give $2,000, can I name 2 honorary Paul Harris fellows?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Okay. Yes. Is that a commitment?
It is.
Aha. All right, Ed, we're doing the right thing here, I guess.
Does it get 2 different pieces of apparel or just a pair of socks with that?
He gets both socks. He gets both socks. Yes. I think we can probably do, I think we can probably work that out. Pam Bowers asks, if we give online, who do we let know to get our t-shirt? Pam, good question. And Edina gets sick of me asking for a donor report that outlines all of the donors that gave during a specific month or anything like that. So I review the list and we'll be able to reach out to you on a weekly basis. Once we know that people gave, they'll be able to get those links, or if you give the 1,000 again with the code in there. So we will get that. If you're concerned that I may miss something, feel free to shoot an email to me or Kathy, and we'll get that squared away and make sure that you get a shirt as well.
I'd just like to add, he emails me on Sunday asking if I can get him a report on that day. Just
I typically clarify it with if you have time, but it can be tomorrow if necessary as well. So, you know.
Edina, we usually get emails from him Saturday night, like at 10:30. So
yeah,
there's that.
It's a little earlier Sunday in the day, but.
Any other questions that anybody has about anything? Yes, as Charlie mentioned, my Rotary is down for maintenance right now. So it's been going in and out over the last couple of days. So if at first you don't succeed, try again, please. And we can go from there.
But it is easier than trying to register for a vaccine, just so you know.
So I just got a text from someone that said they're going to help me with this process, but I don't know who the text is from.
Kyle, can I make a comment?
Sure you can, John.
Yeah, first I want to congratulate the whole foundation team in the district. I think it's just phenomenal what you guys are doing in putting this kind of an action together and pulling everybody together. The only thing I'm really disappointed in is it's happy hour, and I'd like to toast all of you who are there. I haven't seen anybody. The other thing I'd like to just a couple of the other little comments. One with Joe and Charlie with the polio. Obviously, you know, my background is has a keen interest in polio, but polio eradication is the Rotary Foundation's #1 program, and it was actually the Rotary Foundation's program internationally. In 1965, at a UN meeting, one of our general secretaries at the time went to a UN breakout session and announced to the world health leaders that Rotary was going to raise 120 million for polio, 1965. Nobody believed it. It was a 3-year fundraising effort. And by 1985, 3 years were up, we had doubled what we said we were going to raise, and the world was changed by that. And so anyway, I think that this is our program, and I'm really excited about it. But I also recognize the extreme importance of the annual programs fund. This is the bread and butter fund of Rotary International. And for those of you who know me, I was a governor back in 95, 96, so that tells you how old I am. But I had the good fortune of being invited to go to work for Rotary International after that, and on the Rotary Foundation at that time. And I can tell you, this is a foundation that you can really, really be proud of. I have watched the leadership. I sat in on trustee meetings for 9 years, and I can tell you that anything you give to Rotary is going to be taken care of in a way that you can be super proud of. You don't have to worry about a thing. So anyway, enough said. I just wanted to chip in 2 cents worth here, and I'll be joining your effort in February. So,
Thanks, John. Thanks, John. A
So
couple
John,
more.
that donation will come in with X amount of dollars and 2 cents. Am I correct?
I don't know about the 2 cents, but it'll come in with we'll do the 500. Okay.
We just got the 2 cents. I got it. Okay. Thank you.
Question from Ken Galloway to everybody. When you donate to this campaign, how much of the donation goes to polio? This is for the annual fund share, which goes to the Rotary Foundation and sits there for 3 years. And then at the end of that 3 years, it gets split between district designated funds, 50%, which come back to our district to use for grants or however we want to. And the other 50% goes to the Rotary Foundation's World Fund. The World Fund is managed by the Rotary Foundation trustees, and they do use some of that money to match Polio Plus contributions by districts in their DDF as well. So some of it goes there. I can't give you an exact percentage. Additionally, for the last number of years, out of our DDF that our district gets, we make a contribution as a district of $20,000 to $30,000 towards Polio Plus as well. So like last year, we gave $30,000 to Polio Plus. Then that got matched by the World Fund 1-to-1, so that became $60,000. Then the Gates Foundation gave their 2-to-1 match. So our $30,000 of DDF, which we use for polio, which came from the annual fund share, became $180,000 as a result. So I hope that at least gives an example there, Ken, on how that goes. Charlie Altman said, how do you give through your brokerage charitable account? Adina, go ahead and take Charlie's name and please reach out to him, because that's one of those questions that I will connect you with our annual giving officer, Adina Mehovic, and she'll be able to help you on that one. So if anybody has questions about that, I can certainly connect you to Adina, and she's already attached the IRA transfer form in the chat as well. So Charlie, we'll follow up with you on that to make sure you don't have any other questions. Anybody else have any questions? Ed, anything to add from your standpoint? You're certainly geared up and ready to go this afternoon. So
I'm getting ready for a beer is what I'm getting ready for.
Well, mine's empty. And so
happy hour, you're supposed to have a beer.
Yeah, well, it started at 4:30. Anyway, with that, I would like to wrap this up by just saying congratulations to all the clubs that were recognized today. More importantly, thank you to all of you that attended. Thanks for all of our presenters, we'll call them, and to everyone for giving to the Rotary Foundation, because certainly when we give, it's about the impact, and we're making our neighborhoods and the world a better place because we give to the Rotary Foundation. And finally, I hope you're excited about our Share the Love campaign. So please help us share the love this February. And with that, enjoy your evening and have a good week.
See you
Thank
all
you,
around.